Per Ian Rappaport, Chicago Bears All-Pro lineman Roquan Smith has requested a trade. What does that mean for the Bears? How did we have this situation get to this point? We'll break all that down on today's emergency episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Let's go. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. Again, per Ian Rappaport and honestly, per Roquan Smith himself, the Chicago Bears All-Pro does not want to be a Chicago Bear anymore. He put out basically like the screenshots on the notes and wrote a message to Bears Nation that reads, to the city of Chicago and the Bears fans worldwide. I have officially requested a trade. Just writing these words is deeply painful. I'm a kid from Macon County, Georgia. When you grow up playing football, you dream of making it to the NFL one day. However, playing the linebacker position, you never imagine of getting drafted top 10 by the Chicago Bears. I'm a homegrown Bear. A dream came true for me to have an opportunity to put the Bears helmet on, wear the same jersey as legendary linebackers did. It's an indescribable feeling. Walking these hallways the last 4 years, you can feel the spirit. You feel the pressure to live up to that timeless history, that great legacy. I dreamed of playing like Wilbur Marshall, Singletary, Briggs, Urlacher, Butkus. Since the day I was drafted, I vowed to play the position at a level that upheld that standard that was set before me and to upheld the respect and honor I have. And I have. Unfortunately, the new front office regime doesn't value me here. They've refused to negotiate in good faith. Every step of this journey has been take it or leave it. The deal they sent me is one that would be bad for myself and for the entire linebacker market if I signed it. I've been trying to get something done that's fair since April, but their focus has been to try and take advantage of me. I wanted to be a Bear for my entire career, help this team bring a Super Bowl back to our city. However, they have left me no choice than to request a trade that allows me to play for an organization that truly values what I bring to the table. I haven't had a chance to talk to the McCaskey family, and maybe they can salvage this. But as of right now, I don't see a path back to this organization I truly love. I hope and pray you all can understand, and I'm deeply sorry it's come to this. Sincerely, Roquan Smith. That's a tough loss. That's a tough loss to your season. That's a tough loss to your regime. That's a tough loss to your team. That is a top 5 linebacker in the NFL, arguably in some metrics a top 3 linebacker in the NFL that is about to walk out of your door. Again, he said he has not talked to the McCaskey family. He has not talked to anybody outside of Ryan Poles and their front office. How do you guys feel about this, man? Do you feel like, and here's the thing, right? We also don't know what Roquan was asking for. That's the one thing that I want to be remembered in this. We don't know how much Roquan was asking for. We don't know how much was offered to Roquan. Those contract details have not come out. But the point is, right now, you're about to lose just on the football aspect of it, right? On the who's right, who's wrong, I don't know yet, right? If Roquan Smith's out there asking for $25 million a year, you want me to pay you $6 million more than Fred Warner? I get it, right? Like, you're definitely at that level, but I don't know if you're $6 million more than Fred Warner. I'm fine with you setting the market. I'm fine with you making 22 million to 20, but I don't know what that is, right? I don't know what Roquan requested. On the flip side of things, I don't know if Poles came in with a lowball deal saying, hey, we think you're right around where CJ Mosley is. We'll give you 17 million a year over the next 5. That's a disrespectful deal. And it seems like Roquan Smith at a minimum feels disrespected. Drop a super chat if you want to get your comment on the screen as well. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. We got 92 in here. Let's get this thing up over 100 in the chat. Here's the thing. From a football standpoint, your team is absolutely worse. You are losing an all-pro linebacker. You are losing a top player in the NFL on the defensive side of the football. And yeah, I understand you feel like you've done a lot of things to fix this, but Nicholas Morrow is not the answer at your MLB position. I understand that you're trying to reset this thing, but again, right? Like this defense will be worse without Roquan Smith standing there leading the way. This is tough, right? Because there's been so much up and down. I'm not gonna lie to you. Reminds me very much of Ryan Pace. There's been so much up and down. Now, here's the thing that I will say. Because we didn't see this pop up until after the Chicago Bears started paying other guys to come into the organization on the offensive side of the football. Roquan Smith was there for OTAs. He was there for mini camp. He was there getting ready to go for training camp. And then the Bears brought in 2 offensive linemen and paid that side of the football first. And now all of a sudden a holdout came out. I understand both sides of this. Roquan does deserve more money. Roquan does deserve to make upward. He does deserve to set the linebacker market. He's that level of player. He's that good. But on the other side of that, you've got to protect this kid, Justin Fields. I understand Ryan Poles paying other guys to come in here that are going to stand in front of Justin Fields and do a better job of protecting him. It's going to be tough. It's going to be, listen, this changes the outlook of your season altogether. I can't say who I feel is right or wrong in this position. It never feels right letting great talent go. It just doesn't. It never feels right letting great talent go. And you are letting great talent go. You are letting talent that you developed walk out the door. You are letting talent on your defensive side of the ball, the one superstar chip you had, walk out the door. That's tough. And I don't know how Poles is going to replace a guy like Roquan Smith. I don't know how Poles is going to find a guy to stand in there. Right? You're basically saying we're either going to overpay next season when we've got more money, or we're going to find this guy in the draft. That's what this has come down to now. Poles is going to try and fix this through the draft. And listen, this is surprising, right? Because Albert Breer talked about how maybe this is an issue even with Coach Flus himself. Maybe this is an issue even with Coach Flus himself. He talked about how Roquan Smith is not the typical type of linebacker that Coach Flus normally works with, normally likes, normally really wants in his organization. It's not that typical style of linebacker. Roquan doesn't fit that. But I don't think that you're a better team by moving on from Roquan Smith. You've got the space to pay him. You've got the space for him to be in the organization. Now, again, we don't know the details of the deal that was proposed to Roquan Smith, but Roquan Smith absolutely took it as disrespectful, not only to him, but to the linebacker. He said that it would be an issue for the linebacker community. Now, here's from Adam Schefter. Per Shefty, among the frustrations detailed by Smith, Roquan Smith has lost trust by what he believes are their attempts to take advantage of him. So you would feel like there's a lowball deal on the table, maybe from Ryan Poles. He feels the entire process hasn't been a negotiation, just the Bears trying to strong arm him with a take it or leave it deal. The backloaded offer, which wouldn't make him the highest paid in actual salary. So we do have the deal here. So here's the deal. The backloaded offer, which wouldn't make him the highest paid in actual salary, included proposed de-escalators that not a single player out of the 94 non-QB 15 plus million contracts has. He was offended the deal would hurt the linebacker market as a whole. So apparently, right, there were de-escalators that would bring his money down if he didn't meet these different criterias. Now, listen, for me, that is disrespectful. You don't put de-escalators in Roquan Smith's deal. That's an L on polls. Again, we don't know what the number is, but that's an L on polls. You don't put de-escalators in Roquan Smith's deal. He's been a dominant player for this franchise. He's been a dominant player for this NFL franchise. And you're going to throw de-escalators in his deal? What is that? Are you kidding me? I don't know what the number was you offered him. But Roquan Smith has led the NFL in multiple statistical categories. He's been one of the best linebackers in multiple statistical categories. This tells me if you're putting de-escalators in his deal, then you didn't want him. You knew he wasn't going to take that. You knew he wasn't going to take that. You knew he didn't want he wasn't going to sign a deal that did that. Not only for him, but for the rest of the people around the NFL that can get big money. You knew he wasn't going to do that. And you're talking about, did I read that right? Did he say that this deal would not make him the highest paid in actual salary? So you're talking about he's not even setting the market? He's a good enough player to set the market. He's not even setting the mark. You're not paying him more than you didn't want to pay him more than $19 million a year? Are you kidding me? Wow. Wow. That is that's an interesting take on it. Trying to see if there's any more news that's kind of come out on that. That hurts. That hurts your team. That hurts your team in the long run. He's 25 years old. Now listen, I'm not saying that you can't find a guy in the future that can be this player, but this player exists in your organization right now. I'm not saying that you can't go out there and find a guy that is a player of this level that exists in your organization, but he's in your organization right now. He's already on the team. He already played. He's here. He's a Bear. He's developed. Wow. That's listen, I get if you're going the I don't even know. I don't even know. Let's look in the chat, man. Let's see what you guys are saying. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with us, man. Hit that like button if you have not done so. Subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago Bears on this channel daily. It's the only channel talking Chicago Bears, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. 156 in the chat, 31 likes, man. Come on, let's get these likes up on the video. What do we got here? Raging Oracle says Quan needs to get his money. If they're going to move on, this is the year to do it. Corey Polk says Roquan is the best player on the team. He needs to get paid. Logan says Rose trying to create leverage that ain't there. Baki says, Pat and chat, I'm going to tell y'all this now. I'm not worrying about this. I don't care what Roquan says in his Twitter post. It's all a negotiation ploy. Taking to social media has become a new thing. I don't know how this would be I guess it could be, right? Like if you get the McCaskies involved at the end of it. But here's the thing. Do you want to see the McCaskies undermine the GM that they just brought in? Because if you do that, you're right back in the situation you were with Ryan Poles or with Ryan Pace. If you do that, you're right back in the situation you were in with Ryan Pace. And I don't think that's the route to go either. I don't want to see the McCaskies come in and say, listen, if they come in and they say, listen, can we come to a truce on this? Let's sit down. Let's talk it out. Let's figure this out, blah, blah, blah. That's a whole different situation. But I don't want to see the McCaskies come in, look Ryan Poles in the face and tell him, hey, we understand that you don't feel like this is the right move, but pay him. Let's keep it going in the chat, man. Shout out to you guys for tuning in. Mo says, let him go get a deal, man. See what the market says. The market's gonna pay him. He'll set the market, I think. I think Roquan will set the market. I'm telling you, he's that good of a player. He's that good of a player. He'll set the market. Crystal says, why don't he go bet on himself and honor his contract he signed? I mean, I get you, but like that's a this is not something that is surprising to us in the NFL. This is not new. Players all when they get to the last year of their deal, they always want to get that deal done before the last year of their deal is up. This makes sense. This is normal. Guess what? If Roquan Smith blows his knee out this year, he doesn't have a deal next season. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a deal next season. What else we got in here, man? Shout out to y'all for tuning in. It hurts that he's not using an agent to mediate. Yeah, I think you have to deal with things a little bit different. And that's how you get to this situation, right? The fact that Roquan Smith doesn't have an agent, and Ryan Poles talked about it. That's how you get to this situation. You have to deal with the player a lot different. You have to deal with the player a lot different because they can take things as disrespect. And clearly, that's where we got. Clearly, that's how we get here. So I don't know, man. I don't know. That's an interesting change in this entire organization. I do think that hurts you at a minimum this season. Now the question is, right, if you do trade him, what can you get back? He's requested a trade. We don't know if a trade is going to get done. He says he hasn't talked to the McCaskies. We don't know if they're going to all of a sudden walk in and work this whole thing out. This could be a negotiating tactic. It'd be a weird one for me, but I guess this could be a negotiating tactic. But what can you get for Roquan Smith? Do you go all in on the other side of the ball? Do you go on all in on the other side of the ball and maybe see if you can get a player, a wideout? Or do you take some more picks? Do you try and completely rebuild this thing in the draft with picks? Do you try and find your next all-pro linebacker in the draft with picks? Seeing DK in the chat a lot. DK just signed that new deal, so that would I don't I and I'm not gonna pretend like I just know how they would have to structure that contract right off top. But what do you guys think the Chicago Bears can get in return for Roquan Smith? Is he worth 2 firsts? That might be high. I do think it's so tough, right? Because getting a first for a play is tough in this NFL. But I mean, you when you look at where Roquan ranks among linebackers, right? I mean, listen, there's some metrics where you can make a case that he's better than Fred Warner. So at a minimum, I think you can, if you go to a team that's struggling enough, get him at a minimum 1 first round pick. I think you could get 1 first round pick, but is that the route you want to go here? And here's the thing in the NFL: the better route will always be through the draft. The better route will always be through the draft. If you're going to rebuild this thing from the studs, which it seems like that's the route we're heading, right? You're going to rebuild this thing through the draft. I don't think you go out and you get a big name wide receiver, excuse me, or another guy that's going to be able to come in right and play right away. You start this thing, to me, you start this by going and getting draft capital for Roquan, trying getting high draft capital for Roquan. Some teams, listen, you definitely could look down at Atlanta, see if there's something on that team that you're interested in, especially if you're talking about draft capital, right? We know that the Atlanta Falcons are trying to put together the Atlanta Bears down there. I would be interested in seeing what the Falcons might want or might be able to give up for Roquan Smith, because I don't think that I think those are the teams you want to look at. And here's the thing, right? Like, it's also, don't just fold and acquiesce to whatever Roquan wants. I'm going for the best deal. I'm not going for where you feel comfortable at this point, because you feel disrespected. Now we feel disrespected. Okay. You don't want to be a Bear? Okay. And I love him. I want him to be a Bear. But if you don't want to be a Bear, who's got the best deal? If that lands you in Jacksonville, guess what? Have a nice time winning 3 games. If that lands you on the Giants, have a nice time winning 3 games. Have fun. I love him. I want to see him on this team. You're a better team with Roquan Smith. I wanted Roquan Smith to set the market for the linebacker position. I want that to be clear. But if you're coming in asking for 25 mil a year, hey, we're not giving you that. So guess what? I'm going to the teams that are going to have the highest picks in the draft. I'm going to the teams that are going to suck. And I'm going to say, would you like this shiny linebacker that will make you better in 3 years? You have to pay him quite a bit of money, but your organization will be able to buy jerseys. Have fun in Atlanta. This sucks, man. This is not how I wanted to start the day. Oh, man. Over 200 in the chat. 200. This is not how I wanted to start the day. I really felt like this was a deal that was going to get done. And listen, it's still right. Like it's not like we haven't seen this before and then it doesn't get done. It still might, but now you've come out and you've tried to embarrass on both sides. Now it's getting ugly. Now it's getting ugly. um, yeah, isn't Bears Family Fest today as well? Doing this on Bears Family Fest Day? Yeah, I mean this is definitely a tactic by Roquan. Hey, 192 in here. Let's get it up over 100 likes before we get up out of here, man. We will be covering Bears news all day. I had the Daily Show ready to drop, but a lot of like the stuff we were talking about definitely included Roquan Smith. I'll say this, right? My prediction of the Bears being a possible 9-win team, basing on how the teams they play really suck. I would move backwards on that. For me, you're talking about now the Bears probably being a 7-win team max. That's a big loss. It's a big loss in the middle of your field. You saw how bad this defense got when he went down at times. It's a big loss. But why you got to do Jacksonville and New York like that? I mean, honestly, bro, come on now. Come on now. You know what it is. I could see the Bears winning 7 games. Maybe. I mean, I feel like it's a big enough of a blow to this defense that you could be talking about the Bears being a well, no, I don't think any player moves the needle that much outside of a quarterback. And again, it's me seeing them winning 7 is just because the schedule's awful. And the offense will take a step forward. Here's the thing. The offense is still taking a step forward. Roquan affects one side of the field for sure, but the offense is still going to take a step forward. You've still got 3 guys on your defensive line that absolutely spend a lot of time in the backfield. That absolutely spend a lot of time in the backfield. Roquan Smith spent a lot of time in that backfield. Travis Gibson spent a lot of time in that backfield. And you added in Al-Qadiq Muhammad spending a lot of time in that backfield. The middle of your field will definitely be picked apart by those top teams. But again, the quarterbacks you're playing this year, Daniel Jones. The quarterbacks you're playing this year, Tua Tagovailoa. I know there's a lot of people out there that all of a sudden have this belief that he's a good quarterback, but he had a pretty good offensive system around him last season, and he wasn't a good quarterback. I have a hard time worrying about Daniel Jones picking us apart over the middle. I have a hard time worrying about Jared Goff picking us apart over the middle, right? Like, so it's not like I've never said this Bears team was going to be dominant. I've never said this Bears team was going to come out and destroy the competition on the other side of them. But I do believe the competition on the other side of them ain't better. There's nothing about the New York Giants that I look at and I fear. There's nothing about the Atlanta Falcons that I look at and I fear. Maybe Cordero Patterson. That's about it. That's tough. That's not how we wanted to start the morning here. Hey, appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago Bears daily on this channel. We'll be coming out with a ton of content today based on this as news comes in, as different things break. So stay tuned with us on that as well. There'll be video drops. Make sure if you want nothing but Chicago Bears content, subscribe to the Chicago Bears Breeze, and we'll have long form content coming out today. Roquan Smith doesn't want to be a Bear anymore. We'll see. We'll see how this ends. Hopefully, this does. I mean, there'll be a press conference today, so we'll be live for that for sure. As always, man, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again to continue watching our Chicago Bears content. Click the links in the description below or just check out the channel. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the page and hit that notification bell to stay in tune with us, man. As always, man, y'all stay safe out there, Chicago.